My name's Steve Durham. I'm a director of We Are Festival, co-founder with Reece Miller. Reece was the brains behind it. He was a promoter, and he came to me and asked him to help him set up a festival 8 years ago. I agreed. He came back a year later with a business plan, and it kicked on from there. Originally, we visited about 70 or 80 sites in and around London and the M25. We wanted to make it a southeast-based festival. Dance music was our top priority. We felt there was a gap in the market for a really good dance music festival. We found this site. Year one, we had 15,000 people. We're now on year 7, and it's pretty much been a straight line growth up to almost 70,000. I think the growth came initially from the fact that nothing had been done like this before in this area. No doubt about it, in the southeast, they love their techno, they love their drum and bass, they love their house, their tech house. Everything that this area has always had from a club perspective, it was missing from an outdoor and a festival perspective. The word got around the first year. Like I said, we had 15,000 people, and after that, just demand grew and grew and grew. We've been through a couple of production companies. APL stepped in a few years ago, helped us to arrange the site bigger, to scale it to where we wanted to be. We have a capacity of 80,000. We now have a permanent licence, and we hold the biggest permanent licence in any London borough of any site and for any festival. So EDM is a genre which most people look at as dance music. 6 or 7 years ago, it couldn't have been better timing. Certain artists like Calvin Harris of Avicii started hitting the mainstream charts. So you had both ends of the spectrum, people that loved this kind of music that felt it was underground, and then you had the mainstream come on board, and that's why we think it's grown. We also think that we've tried to stay current with the trends. So one year we might go heavy in drum and bass, the next year we might go heavy in techno. There will always be elements of all of those genres, but we would tweak it as things go on. So we have several different stages. We obviously have our main stages that deals with all the headliners, from the ones that have been with us since the beginning, like Defected, to a lot of other of the artists like MK, Jamie Jones, Marco Carola. We try to offer different experiences for all different types of people that come here. The size of the stages vary greatly, from capacities of 12, 13,000 right the way down to 400. We have a scheme where we back local talent, so local DJs come up to us, they approach us, we try and pick the talent and we put them in the smaller arenas and they bring all their fans there, because these guys have got following anywhere between 100 and 3,000, and they come to We Are Festival, so they perform in front of their fans and it looks great for them. So in terms of the emerging talent, we don't think there's anyone like us in the industry. We will always attract the headline names. It has become easier and easier as we become more established. A few years ago when we really started to grow, we called APL in. Vicky and Sam Smith have done an amazing job. We also brought our bar company in, which we're partners with now, which is Freeman's Event Partners. They do gigs all over the place. So both really experienced partners, not just in the festival industry. Freeman's run events all over the country. That has helped us to grow, because it's helped us turn into some guys that got around a table, decided they want to run an event, to becoming a mature company. They've contributed greatly to our success and our growth. We've always tried to attract the top people, from our lawyer, through to the production people. We wanted people that knew what they were talking about, and that's where we invested really early on. This started in terms of how we wanted to grow the festival. We knew the first few years would be tough, and we knew we couldn't do it any other way than doing it properly. 3 years ago, we started camping. So we've got about 5,000 campers on site now. We're very convenient for a lot of people because we're still on the district line, and the trains to London are obviously regular and quite late. So we would never be a huge camping festival because the transportation's so good. We also do free buses to and from the station, which gives people access when they come in, easy access, and when they get home safely. Camping has been growing the last few years. We've got a licence to move it much bigger. We're making decisions on that every year. They're just being let through now. That's on the Friday. Saturday and Sunday we will see well over 30,000 people a day. That has been the big change for us, has been the camping side of things, in terms of organisation and in terms of maturing about what the customer wants, because now you're looking after people not for a few hours, but for 3 days. So that's all about gluten-free options and vegan options and stuff like that. Little things like that where it's all down to the customer experience. We want to make it as good as possible and as varied as possible. We've got a lot of room to grow. It is an airfield for 360 days of the year. They have to close down when we're on site. It's a pretty amazing place. Our office is actually based here as well. So when we look outside our windows, we see planes going past, and rather than looking at site maps, we can actually look outside and walk the grounds every day if we need to, and make little changes and little plans. We think the site itself now and all the structures on there are as tight as they've ever been. It's our 7th year. We've got used to it. We're a well-oiled machine. Everyone at the festival, they're the most amazing people to work with. We've got a young team, and we're all learning from each other. security company this year, Specialised. They arrive on site for 10 days before the event. We then have, and it's fairly sparsely populated. They're here just to start guarding what's already on site, which will be trackway, which will be the steel shield. They're watching people come and go. Supplies are coming and going. It starts ramping up with about 3 or 4 days to go, where all you're going to see is lorries coming in and out. So Specialised control all of that area. We've got another company called Responsec, which are on here, and they basically help us plan the best way where there are points where they think the fields could be open. Like I say, this is an aerodrome, and we want to structure it so that it's an ongoing business for the airfield managers as well as us. So we integrate with them. So you have 10 days of build, we have 3 days of the festival, and we have 5 days of break. So we've got to be off site in exactly 7 days' time. That's how quickly it is, and it's a huge turnaround. I mean, 5-6 kilometres of trackway, at least that. Probably another 50% of that on top of that for steel shield. But again, these guys are all pros. They know how to do it. They know how to get in and out of festivals. We were all sitting in the office one day, and we used to use a token system. We've never used cash. And we went and visited other festivals, and we saw how RFID worked and electronic wristbands. It's just become the norm now, wherever you go. Getting your cup of coffee, £2.40. People don't want to think about it. They just want to tap and they want to walk away. And we just said, how can we do that? Now, the technology's there. Obviously, if you've got hard standing ground and you've got pipes that can come through and you can develop a Wi-Fi, that's fine. If you want it 365 days a year, it becomes an investment. With us, it was how do we invest in it for 3 days of the year? And that was the challenge. Obviously, PlayPass came to us. They told us other festivals they'd done. We were delighted to partner up with them because, again, another mature company that we felt had come a long way in the last few years. They gave us the confidence to say, you can do this. You don't have to worry about how things used to work. It will work like you're getting your cup of coffee or your pint at the bar. And kids don't like to carry cash around. We're all getting older, but the kids are getting younger. Our audience is 18 to 24. 70 to 80% are 18 to 24. The landscape's changing. We all know that. And the less they can lose, in terms of loose cash or tokens, and we trialled it last year. We have a we call it the We Are exclusive area. It's for certain influencers and press and artists. It's kind of like a backstage area. We trialled it. There wasn't one glitch. It all went through fantastically well. So it's fine testing it with 500 people. Now, this year, we're testing it with nearly 70,000 people. Have every confidence it's working. It's already working on the door. We've activated a few thousand wristbands already. Everything's going smoothly first couple of hours. From the moment they walk in, they use it. It's for access control. As soon as they come in, they're given their wristband, it's tapped, it's activated, and it's ready to go. We have the facility also, obviously, to pre-top up, so people are walking in conveniently, like a debit card, with 50 quid or 100 quid already on the wristband, and they love that. The feedback we've had so far from the public is it's been super easy and super smooth, and we're obviously hoping for that experience to carry through while they're using it. The greatest benefit to us is not having as much cash on site, not having to worry about certain extra costs when it comes to the other infrastructure like the PDQ infrastructure and the people to man it. It just moves it a little bit more from heavy manual labour to the automated systems. Like I said, we had token machines before. They were really labour intensive for us and for the customer. So what we're really hoping to achieve, obviously a few thousand people have pre-topped up. In an ideal world, 100% of them walk in with their wristbands with credits already on them. We won't get to 100%, but as soon as we start getting into 50, 60, 70, 80%, everyone is much more happy, everyone's more relaxed. It's really important that we make it as easy as possible for them because they've got to trust the system. They will always use it once. It's easy to get a customer once. They'll only use it again if it goes really, really smoothly. And like I say, last year, in terms of the refunds and how they worked, I had friends of mine calling me and saying, that was a great idea. We've got our money back. We're really, really happy. The pre-top up, it can come 9 months before, it can come 9 days before. Obviously, it helps in terms of the cash flow of the festival. It also gives us more confidence that actually people don't want to spend £18 anymore because the average we've had so far is £35 or £40. So in terms of cash flow, it helps a little bit, but it gives us more information about people's intentions. We don't know how much they're going to spend traditionally in the past until they get here. Now we're starting to see how much they're putting on their wristbands. We can anticipate that. That obviously helps the bar company. we have many chats throughout the year about what kind of stock we're going to order. So from that point of view, again, more the customer experience. The technology is a way to really engage with the audience. So the next thing we're going to do is to build an app, and the cashless will work really seamlessly with that, because it is just going to be tap. I want to put £10 on my wristband, and they will always have that. It will always be attached to their ticket. Then when they come and get it, 6 months later, 9 months later, whenever they choose to buy it, technology is the way forward, without a question. Again, from our point of view, we don't want to sell them anything else other than a better experience. So if we know their spending habits before they even get on the festival site, then we can make it more enjoyable for them and more relevant.
Hi, I'm Steve. I'm the Managing Director of PlayPass in the UK, and I'm here with my team to make We Are Festival fully cashless. So last year they finally thought they'd take the first step, so they invited us to do a trial here in their We Are exclusive area for 500 of their super VIPs. So we made that area fully cashless, just using exactly the same system we do at scale. If you were in that customer group, you had to use our cashless system to buy any drinks, and those people bought a lot of drinks. They're all the champagne and cocktail drinkers. So it was a great test for the system, and it was very easy to show them the gains, which they saw immediately. Their takings increased, the queues at the bars were much less, everyone was getting a better experience, and that was enough to convince them to roll it out site-wide this year. They had a new ticket provider this year, StubHub, who they did an exclusive deal with, so all 70,000 of their tickets were through the one operator. But StubHub don't have their own ticket scanning solution, so they needed someone to scan all the tickets at the gates, and fortuitously part of our cashless system involves scanning all the tickets at the gate, so we had a very lightweight solution for them to add on, and that sort of I think accelerated their move to going fully cashless. To be honest, it was actually very straightforward with these guys because they'd already had the token system. They already had all the communication and processes in place through that. And what we were doing was just making life a lot easier for everybody than that process had been for everyone working with it. Because with a digital system, you don't have to worry about counting the tokens, people losing them, people stealing them. So from the event staffing point of view, it was actually a lot easier, and everyone was very receptive to the transition. From a customer point of view, exactly the same. It was a much better experience for the fans. They were used to having to queue to buy tokens when they got here. Now they could load their cashless credits in advance through the ticketing platform, and they could use their cashless credits to buy food as well. So previously you still had to use cash for food, but you had tokens for beer. It's quite a confusing user journey. Now everything's cashless on the one wristband, which is, you can see here. Best of all, if they leave the event with unspent money, they don't just have some useless bits of plastic in their pocket. They can log on to the festival website and get any unspent money back, or put it towards next year's ticket. A big part of the planning for this festival was with the infrastructure and the numbers of devices that we'd need, particularly for the cashless point of sale terminals. And luckily we've worked with the bar operator before, Freeman's, who obviously do a lot of UK events. We've done events with them before, so they knew our system, they knew how we work, we know how they work. That made things a lot easier in the planning. So they immediately had a very accurate idea of how many point of sale devices they needed, for instance. So there wasn't too much sort of back and forth. We very quickly realised how many devices we needed. We needed 200 fixed points of sale for this event, and this is the first time we're actually using the fixed points of sale in the UK. So these are a slightly more sort of robust device rather than the handheld units we use at smaller festivals, because this is a big one, 70,000 people. You need a more robust solution that clamps onto the desk. It leaves the attendants hands free as well, so it makes the whole process even quicker. So it's very straightforward to resource the bars here, and for us even more so the food traders. That there weren't so many of them. I think we needed about 200 mobile point of sale devices, and these are just handheld units like smartphones that are worn around the neck of the person serving. I guess that was a little bit more tricky for the festival, because rather than one bar operator they had tens of smaller individual food traders they had to explain why they were going cashless to and the benefits. Sometimes there's a bit of apprehension with traders. It's something they're not used to here yet, but in our experience we've found it's something they absolutely love once they've tried it. It makes their life a lot easier. They don't have to sleep with all their money in their sleeping bag. They don't have to worry their staff have got hands in the till, things like that. And best of all, they sell a lot more. So the economics of going cashless versus using cash speak for themselves. In our experience, every festival that's gone cashless has never gone back to cash afterwards. That tells you something. It must be very financially viable for them. And from the visibility we have, which is on the sales, we can see year on year, the uplift they're getting. And the extras that people spend. And I've heard festival promoters tell me in most cases in the UK, just the uplift alone much more than covers the cost of hiring our services and putting our system in place. And then that's before you even get to all the savings. When you take cash management out of the equation, particularly for an event of this size, there's no more transportation, security. So that's a huge amount of infrastructure you have to have. Some festivals we work with pay for everything themselves. Some charge their traders and bar operators for the devices, and they justify that by saying that saves them the cost of cash management. Where it also sort of affects the dynamics is in the deals that the festivals do with their traders. So in a cash event, they'll typically charge a fixed pitch fee, because they don't have the visibility on how much these guys are taking. They just have to kind of guess and charge them an appropriate fee that they think. But when an event goes cashless, that all changes, because they have total visibility on how much these guys are all taking. And more often than not, it's a lot more than they think they're taking. So one of the main benefits of cashless for an event organiser is the wealth of data that they have at their fingertips in real time. Literally, they can see everything that's happening. Every scan is recorded and time-stamped and linked to an individual wristband wearer. And that's whether they're coming through the gates or scanning to get in somewhere or buying something. So this gives you the power in real time as an event organiser to see on the dashboard that we give them, which they can see on their phone. They can literally see the money rolling in real time, and they can see where they can look at all the different bars and see they can even drill down to individual bar staff. Some events we work for ask us to create live league tables of bar staff, best performing and worst performing, because they've got 3 days, sometimes less, 1 or 2 days to make all their money for the whole year from those bars. They're not going to mess around. They need to know that it's running to optimum efficiency at all times. So having that kind of real-time data that our system provides allows that. We're very excited about this year in the UK. We believe it is going to be the breakthrough year for cashless that the market's been waiting for a long time here. Just judging from our summer alone, we're working with lots of new events going cashless for the first time. Festivals like Blue Dot, Black Deer, these guys, Neverworld. There's definitely a changing tide here now.
So 2020 is going to be a huge year for us. Like I said, in 2019 we're already expanded to 2 other festivals. 2020 we're looking at getting to double figures. They won't all be 60,000, some will be 5,000, some will be 15 and 25,000. But again, we know the formula. We're going to start off small, we're going to see the appetite, we're going to have data from wristbands, we're going to see if certain people are going to 3 of our festivals or just 1 or maybe all 6. But they're mainly going to be outdoor concentrated, and now we've got the bit between our teeth in terms of 2019. 2020 is, don't like using the word exponential, but it feels like it, because it's going to skyrocket in terms of what we have to do. We usually just pack up after this festival, take a few weeks, get the D-rig done, take a few weeks off, and then get relaxed about next year. Now we're hitting the ground running.